Sound, power, from the roots to the airwaves. Hippie-Fari live on WTHC radio. From the vinyl to the vibes, yeah, the signal stays strong. Roots in the system, play the truth in the song. High-strung hippie with the mic in his hand, broadcasting consciousness across the land. Friday night fire, no slack, no disguise. Real reggae wisdom under red, gold, green skies. From the studio.
Brought to you by WTHC Radio, Stoner Records, and the Hippie Broadcasting Network. The following broadcast is being filmed in front of a live audience. Now, here's your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie.
Yes, that song never gets old, and neither does spiked eggnog. But anyway, you're tuned in to Hippie-Fari Reggae RootsCast on WTHC Radio, a Hippie-Fari live broadcast dedicated to roots, culture, and conscious reggae music. Hippie-Fari Reggae RootsCast airs every Friday from 8 to 9 p.m. right here on WTHC Radio. It's recorded live in the Omen Honey Media Studios in the beautiful state of Florida, right here in Ocala. And I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie. And the RootsCast is a space created for reasoning, reggae, and creative flow. And every week we sit down with the artists, musicians, and industry professionals to talk their story, spirit, music, and that I consciousness. We're digging into the roots behind the sound. We play their music, we share their message, and we reason honestly about life, creativity, and one love vibes. This is word, sound, power, and conversation, where consciousness meets meaning and vibration meets voice. So family, this one feels like a homecoming. Now, when a true elder of the music steps back into the circle, it's not just an interview, it's a continuation of a conversation that never really ended. So today, we're honored to welcome back a man whose guitar lines helped shape the heartbeat of reggae itself, a musician who stood on some of the most historic stages in music history and helped carry a message that still echoes around the world. This is his second time reasoning with us, and if you know anything about reggae, you already know this is a blessing. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming back the legendary Al Anderson to the studio. Al, what's going on, my friend? How are you today, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man. Once again, thank you for taking time out of your busy night. I know you're always doing something. So the fact that you took the time to come on here is absolutely incredible, man. So once again, thank you. Many blessings. Love.
Thanks for having me.
Always, man. So this is your second time here, and it really feels like a continuation rather than a repeat. Now, how have the road and the music and life kind of been treating you since we last talked? I believe it was about 7-8 months ago.
Yeah, it's been really good. The end of the year saw us going out to Australia and selling out a bunch of shows.
Wow.
In New Zealand, and we had a nice run in Florida for New Year's throughout a couple states in Florida. So the year has been great. You know, we were together at the show with Stick Figure in Virginia some months ago, and
yes, that's right.
Yeah, Stick Figure, Collie Buds, and it was just a lot. It's been a great year.
Yes,
you know, it's been a great last year and old year, and it's been a really good new year. The coming of the new year looks good into the second quarter of the year. We'll be doing some work and going to the studio and finishing some unfinished recording that we've been involved in for quite some time now.
It's absolutely beautiful. And you just mentioned that show in Virginia. It was amazing. I got to do the podcast with you. Then I got to run up on stage after your set, give you a hug and say, it's Scotty from the podcast. And I know you're probably like, who is this fucking weirdo? But that was great to see you again, man. And now to have you back on is such an absolute blessing. So I know you have spent decades carrying this music around the world. What still keeps you inspired to get up, plug in, and hit the stage, man? I know that touring can be tough on some people, but others like you, it's like it's natural.
It's just the younger children that are being brought by their parents and the elders. You know, you have our crowd is between, say, mid-teens to 40 to 70, 60.
Right.
And, you know, grandma's bringing her child's son or daughter to the show, and they're buying the merchandise, and they want to ask questions, what it was like being, you know, in the Jamaican culture, because everyone is really interested more about the culture of Jamaica and the music there and what drove me there. How did I get there? And so it's really interesting. And that's what keeps us going, that, you know, the audience is so relevant to the past, present, and the future of what the word whaler means, because a lot of people are using tribute to the Wailers, and there's a lot of tribute groups. Now, what they don't realize, that by, you know, making a decision that you're going to use a branding where some of the original members are still alive, and this is their livelihood.
Right.
And so I would never step on the foot of somebody who's got bigger feet than me, because I know the answer to that. But the unfortunate thing is that there's a lot of groups that are using the Wailers branding, and they have had nothing to do with Bob Marley.
Right.
Maybe their parents were related to them or something, but, you know, they had nothing to do with, you know, the sacrifice of what Peter, Bob, and Bunny went through, and all the members that have passed recently, and the surviving members. You know, it's been really difficult for us to, you know, we're staying in our lane and holding on to the branding that we know that is the real deal.
Yes, that's an absolutely beautiful thing. And if you listen to our podcast we did 7 months ago, Hippie-Fari.com, you can find it's with Al Anderson. You actually go into that very in depth, and it's pretty intense what you guys went through, and the amount of work that you put in, and a lot of it the record companies just kind of took from you.
Well, my thing was, there was, before me, there was
Right.
Peter and Bunny.
Right.
You know, Bob ended up much in a better place than the two other Wailers that had passed. And
Right.
then you got Carlton Barrett, who had worked so many years with the Upsetters and toured all over the place, did millions of sessions, and along with his brother. And then Wire Lindo and Joe Higgs,
Right.
and Tyrone Downey and Seco Patterson and the I Trees. I mean, we worked so hard for the record companies to recognize that we were human beings.
Right.
And all human beings need is nurturing. You know, if you're a flower, you need sunshine and rain.
That's
And
it.
if you're a human being, you need good health, good food, and to be relevant, and not just be a slave or a servant to
right.
anybody that felt that this was an entity just to capitalize off of, because that's not where it's at. It's a spiritual involvement that really entitles a lot of spiritual knowledge, not only from the record label, but for everybody that's involved with what Bob Marley and the Wailers revolutionary experience was all about. And some people
Right.
don't get it. They just think that, like, oh, you guys made a lot of money. Didn't.
Right.
You
Yeah.
traveled all over the place. You met all these people. Did that. But still, that the wealth of all the recordings and the touring had a lot to do with being successful. Means that your children's children will eat
Right.
because of your sacrifice. And I know that's exactly what Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Wailer, Carly Family Man, Wire, Seco, everybody sacrificed all those years to give to the label to get the music to the right place and at the same time prosper along with what prosperity stands for.
Sure. Wow, that's absolutely beautiful. And I love that quote, prosper for what prosperity stands for. And that actually that rings true in all of his music and what you guys are doing today. Was having a conversation with somebody the other day about the unbelievable reach of Bob Marley. I mean, the fact you can buy his t-shirts in Walmart, but not even that. It's, I was in the punk rock scene. I was in like a rave scene, the techno music. Across any genre, you can ask a guy in a death metal band, or you can ask somebody in a Mormon choir if they like Bob Marley, and they're both going to probably say yes. We're like, that is the only musician, I think that spans, that reach and had that reach, and prosperity for what prosperity is. It's a beautiful thing. But when you step on stage today with the original Wailers, what does that mean to you now, maybe compared to earlier chapters of your life? Has it kind of taken on a different meaning, or is it still just the same?
I look at it as two different times in my life.
Okay.
There was the most successful, and there was the early beginnings when there was nothing.
Right.
And it went from nothing to something to where we couldn't even believe how successful everything was. And everything was fine until the reckoning came.
Right.
The shooting, the separation of, Peter and Bunny, and just all the years that they went through so many changes for us to prosper, like they started it, we carried on the message, and we passed it around. Everyone's gotten, all these groups are calling themselves the Wailers. Everyone's getting a piece of bread from it. So it had to be a divine intervention. So, because if it was not a reality, it wouldn't have, I think, spread so far. And it wasn't only Bob, it was the three of them. It started out the three of them. Bob was a really interesting figure because of his makeup. He wasn't like the other two, and the other two wasn't like him, but they were all the same.
Right.
As I see it.
Absolutely.
And there was Jimmy Cliff. Harder they come. There was no bigger star than Jimmy Cliff. When I went to England, 1972, I heard, Owen Gray, I heard Jimmy Cliff and Dennis Brown. I knew nothing of the Wailers.
Right.
Their music was being played on the pirate radio stations, but there was also a lot of, and it wasn't competition or anything, but Bob used to take me to Four Aces in London, where, I'd see a young Dennis Brown singing at a really high level. And, he had the radio station, the BBC, rocking way before Bob Marley was,
yes.
in the saddle. And then you had other groups that were on the Island label that opened for us. We took them on tour and gave them that royal treatment of working with Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Right.
Third World,
Yes.
Steel Pulse, Oswald, all these groups. We had an opportunity to share the wealth with all of them, and everybody came out real fine. So it basically, when I say Jimmy was the biggest star that, was recognizable in the early 70s, along with Johnny Nash.
Yes, amen.
And, they were part of the successful piece of spreading the word of reggae music worldwide, so everybody could get to understand just exactly what that word means. I don't put it down to one person or three people. It's like a multitude of energies that came together, and the frequency that people were able to accept as a very beautiful thing. When you hear some reggae music, thank God for reggae music, because
Amen.
I played a lot of other musics before, jazz, everything, fusion, blues, folk, everything, but there's nothing like reggae music, and we really needed
Exactly right.
that to fill that gap. And then all the people who were real musicians in the music world realized that, oh, wow, this goes way back to the late 40s and 50s, ska, mento, rock
Yes.
steady.
Mhm.
Look what they missed out on. So, that's when guys like Keith and Mick were really hip cats, and they got involved in reggae music as well. They had their own label. They signed Peter Tosh, and they were reggae enthusiasts that, it went just further than one situation.
Sure.
It had a multitude of frequencies that people were able to accept and love the sound and the culture. And that's what it was really all about for me.
100%, man. That's a beautiful thing. The frequencies representing the sound and the culture. That's incredible that you were actually there to absorb all that, man. It's a beautiful thing. So you've toured the world countless times. Are there places today where you feel that reggae is really resonating with, most importantly, the new generation, the younger kids we were talking about before the show?
Sure. New Zealand, Australia.
Wow, nice.
Samoa. And now Japan and China.
Yes.
And Korea. They've got reggae clubs in the Southeast Asia. I remember being in Thailand in a fish fry shack. It was this little shack, and they played our music, and nobody knew that I was in the Wailers.
Right.
And I would go there like 2 or 3 times during the week and just sit in, and I just saw all our posters. This guy was the owner was an enthusiast, but he didn't come to his restaurant much. And then one day he came and he realized who I was, and he was like, "Do you see all of this?" And I said, "I have no idea. I had no idea that, reggae music was so huge in Thailand, and so these are the places that are taking on to the seeds that all the artists of Jamaica and so on have sowed, Robbie and Sly, and
Yes.
all the great producers, Scratch and
Yes.
Bunny Lee, Coxon,
Coxon, yes, absolutely.
and all the wonderful people involved in dub, Tubbies and Jammies.
Yes, man. Oh, God, man.
They made a big change. And when you look at the mento and how it went from mento into ska and rock steady, and then the fusing dance hall, nobody liked the Jamaicans. You got to give them the crown. There's just nobody like these people. Nobody cooks like them. Nobody behaves like them. It's a behavior pattern that without that, it wouldn't have that that stubborn arrogance that made it successful.
Right. That's beautiful, man. Yes, it's absolutely incredible. And you mentioned you were talking about dub. I had to bring up Augustus Pablo because damn it, man, that's just ingrained.
Oh, another one. Another one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the food. I'm a vegetarian, but when I wasn't, you're talking about the Jamaican cooking, man. That oxtail and that curry goat. Oh my God, man. Unbelievable.
But if you're a vegetarian, there is no better vegetarian than Jamaican.
Oh, you're exactly right. 100%.
Jamaican vegetarian cuisine. I was a vegetarian. I started in Jamaica, and I was for 25 years.
Nice.
I slipped off a couple times because it was like, hey, that's all there is some fish and maybe a curry goat.
Yes.
But it was about vegetables and rice, and the early days of when tofu and bok chow became really popular in Jamaica. So I was a vegetarian for many, many years myself.
That's fantastic, man. So that's just the phenomenal food. Me and my wife lived downtown Orlando. There was this little Jamaican restaurant around the corner that it was just absolutely phenomenal. But yes, exactly right, man. So what can people actually expect from the original Wailers live right now? Kind of musically, spiritually, and energetically.
You're going to get a fusion of the 3 iconic artists that were my seniors and teachers. So we fused Peter, Bob, and Bunny's music together.
Beautiful.
We play some of the catalog. and we also play our original material that we are
Right.
writing. A lot of times we take contracts where people just want to hear legend. As long as we're able to play the music that we love, I don't mind doing that, but I don't want
Right.
to do it for the rest of my life.
Sure.
You know, I really want people to understand that Chet Samuels, Omar Lopez, and myself are singer-songwriters that write their own material. Clamper, along with Papa Nyako. And we all write our own songs. And it's just we want that opportunity to perform the music that we love, which is the music that I started out with from Peter, Bob, and Bunny, to be able to play my own music and the music that the original Wailers can create for the future. It's not so easy because I'm finding a label, and luckily we found a good executive management company, Ineffable, with
Yes.
Igor Katz and Thomas Cousins, and my personal manager, which I've never really had a really good personal manager who takes care of the person in the music.
Right.
Robert Duderman at
Duderman.
Productions.
Yes. Shout out Duderman. Yes.
We love him, man.
Oh, hell yeah. We love Duderman too, man. He's the reason that I got you on the podcast the first time.
He's one of the best. I've had a lot of managers in my
Yes.
career. For us, he's the best, and the best advice and the best everything just comes out really well when you work with him.
That's
You know,
great.
which is a great thing for all of us, including the Ineffable executives. You know,
Yeah.
and then we have Wasserman and Wasserman at an agency, and Ira Goulding, or Gouldman, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
He is our agent that puts us on and gives us the right territories and audiences and amphitheaters to play in. And so we couldn't be happier about who's representing us. We just want to have that opportunity to get the distribution, and just it's turned into a business. When, you know, I come from the Fillmore East days. I lived in the Village, you know, for many years, and I lived right around this. I lived on St. Mark's Place, right around the corner from the Fillmore East. And I got, you know, what was his name? Billy.
Strings?
No, he owned the.
I just had to throw that.
He owned the.
Fillmore?
Wow. He owned the Fillmore. I can't remember his name. He threw me out so many times. I'm supposed to know his name. But I mean, I used to go there like every single day, and I'd see Chicago. I see Albert King.
Billy Graham?
Billy Graham. He
There
threw
we go.
me out. I would sneak backstage and
That's funny, man.
give weed to his artists,
Nice.
and he hated that on any level. He didn't even want anybody to be backstage and involved with the backstage area where groups are getting ready to go on. So I got to meet everybody. Traffic Free. Wow. Bloodwind Pig, that was just before Ian Anderson put that band together with Aqualung and all that. So all these groups that were coming from Europe, Maynard Ferguson, like I said, B.B. King, Albert King, Johnny
Wow.
Winter. I met everybody. Chicago, Terry Kath. I
Ooh.
smoked a joint with all these artists when I was a young kid, and it's
great.
because of that environment made me want to go on the road and be part of the musical world of touring, recording. I wanted that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I had the opportunity to meet Stevie Winwood and Chris Wood, Dave Mason, and the guys from Free, Paul Kossoff, and Andy Fraser, and these guys, and Simon Kirk. And I met Chris Blackwell too. That's where I first met Chris Blackwell, was at the Fillmore East. And then they would go to the clubs in Boston, like the Boston Tea Party.
Right.
And I would always be there, and I'd see them again. And I got to know these artists really well, like Fleetwood Mac and so on. And
Wow.
The original Fleetwood Mac, Peter Green and all that.
Right.
He taught me a lot. Carlos Santana had a lot to do with my
Oof.
guitar upbringing in my world. He was really kind to me, along with Neil. I met Neil Sean when he was probably 16 or 17 years old in Boston at the Boston Tea Party. And I would see them all the time when they came through. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to play guitar. And I saw the behaviors and the attitudes and how these guys did sound checks and how they, you know, how Johnny Winter wrote songs. I asked Johnny, how do you write songs? He said, it's all inspirational. It's all from the heart. He taught him and Dwayne Allman taught me how to play slide guitar.
Wow.
On a garbage can backstage smoking a joint at the Fillmore East.
Yes.
So I really wanted that. And so I met these people that gave me that opportunity. And Woody, the saxophone player, and Paul Kossoff said that they were going to do solo projects and maybe I should come over and get in on the session. So I was like, wow, I never thought about moving to England to live. And then I had another invitation from Bud Parks and Martin Drover from a jazz group. And so I was like, okay, you know, I took them up and, you know, they got me a place to stay and got me in the studio. And then I reunited with Traffic and Free. And I just happened to be at Paul Kossoff's house one night, the lead guitarist of Free, and Chris Blackwell called him to do the overdubs for Naughty Dread.
Wow.
And he wasn't in condition to do any guitar playing, so he let me substitute for him, and that's how I met all the guys again. It was Maynard Ferguson's band was the band that I first came over to England, lived with, and then I got with Woody, and I got to see Paul Kossoff and Steve Winwood all the time. They were always at Island. And, you know, I had Nico and Eno was there. Roxy Music, John Martin.
Roxy Music?
Oh, yeah, man. Those guys are
my bro, I am, man, I that song More Than This by, wow. There's nothing better than that. Woo, it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, Nico and Eno. There was, Island was really interesting, but the first label I worked for was with Richard Branson. He signed me to a deal with working with Delroy Washington. That was the first of my being able to go in the studio and record, which with Richard. And then, you know, Island always had parties. And when I got over there's Roxy Music, there's Free, there's Traffic. Oh, I remember this guy. And so that's Al from New York and all that.
Let him in.
So,
that's great,
yeah,
man.
and they gave me that opportunity to be on all those records. And if it wasn't for Paul Kossoff and Chris Wood, I would have never met any of the Wailers.
That is absolutely incredible, man. Wow, it's like you don't get this anywhere else other than, you know, actually talking to people like yourselves. I mean, it's a lot of the nostalgia has been lost, you know, with the whole streaming platforms. You don't get stories, you don't get backgrounds, and that's why I love podcasts, because, you know, this is absolutely phenomenal, man. This information is just is absolutely priceless. So speaking of all of these voices and all these people that were so influential in your life and your musical career, can we kind of switch gears a little bit and give some honor to the legends, the influential legends that we've lost? We go ahead and start with Jimmy Cliff. James Chambers, born in 1948. You know, he was in the movie The Harder They Come. He was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2010. Songs like Many Rivers to Cross, You Get It If You Really Want. What did he mean to reggae, in your opinion, as a global movement? And what do you remember most about him?
I got a good story for you. I'll start with that. I start with he's one of the godfathers of film and musicianship for the Jamaican Musical Society. One of the godfathers. I toured with him. The Ragamuffin Festival was with UB40 in New Zealand and Australia. These are really incredible shows. And he was just really, he was always kind to me. You know, we talked, I played on one of his albums that went platinum. I know the story I have for you is, this is a really funny one. Tyrone Downey, the keyboard player for Bob Marley and the Wailers, was going on tour for a couple of weeks with Jimmy Cliff. And he was rehearsing in Jimmy's house. And we didn't have any money then. It was early 70s, and we didn't have any money to eat any food. We were hungry. And so Jimmy's wife was cooking food for the band members in Jimmy's house. And, you know, we got back to Hope Road and it's like, hey, we don't have any money. We're hungry. And Tyrone goes like, oh, man, I know Jimmy's got some food at his house left over from rehearsal. So Tyrone and me broke into Jimmy Cliff's house.
Yes.
You know, robbery. We broke into his house.
French Town Rob. I love it.
Stole food from his stove. We're there heating up the rice and peas and callaloo that was left. And he walks in and catches us.
That's funny.
I mean,
my wife's sitting next to me laughing her ass off. This is funny.
It's the most embarrassing thing that you could ever imagine with a guy like him. So, you know what he did? He looked at us and said, oh, I guess you guys must be really hungry to break into my house and rob the food off the stove. He went into his room, closed the door, and he never came out to greet us or nothing.
Oh, shit.
So we just kept eating. We kept eating and we left. And we got back to Hope Road and said, do you believe that? And I was like, oh, my God. And that's one of them. And then, you know, after that, I got to know him really well by touring with him. And we sat in a plane for like every day for a month. And we talked about, you know, Bob and the Wailers and, you know, the record label that was doing dishonesty to most of the artists that were signed to them. Because, you know, I always think that if you're the CEO of a record label and you really, truly are involved in the artist's culture and their careers, is that you're going to do the right thing for them.
That's right.
From the beginning to the end. Because you're only going to prosper when the artist is really getting the most from what a record label can offer. But by depraving them in Jamaica, for some reason, you get even more by depraving them. Because there's nothing there to help them. There's no tour support. There's no financial funding. And the royalties are always shady. So they always go the extra mile and they write better songs. You know, the American artists kind of like fall off and, you know, they're in rehab and they're really depressed. And but the Jamaicans keep going. They just, they keep out-producing the last record. A better product, you know.
That's their rehab, man. That's beautiful.
Over and over and over, they just keep reproducing better material as the worse the conditions that are offered to them. And that's what we went through. That's primary of what we went through with, you know, the record label that we represented. Because we were never, on the live albums, we were never told we were being recorded, for instance.
Right. Yes. I remember you talking about that on the last podcast.
And so I think that the performing rights societies of all worlds should protect artists.
Amen.
You know, because that's, you know, that belongs to you, your being and your image and whatever is put together on behalf of your being and image and all that what you put into, you know, your publishing that belongs to you. If you want to share it, right on. But a lot of artists today aren't sharing their publishing with anybody. They're really selfish, and they're benefiting from at the maximum rate of returns.
Right.
And so we didn't have it so good. We didn't have tour support in the beginning, and if anything was being bestowed on us, know that at the end of the road, that was taken away from you first before you saw anything. So, you know, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Peter Tosh and Bunny, and, you know, they didn't have tour support, but they got support to be on the road. But whatever money they did make was taken away from them. So there was nothing in the end. So if you have nothing in the end, what is there to start from your new beginning?
Right.
So it's very difficult. It's really great when artists have real and true management, real and
Right.
true record companies that really care about them. And you
Yeah.
can see who's really on top, like people like Beyonce and Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
and these incredible artists like Vibes Cartel doing
Right.
well, Buju Banton. They have a serious muscle behind them. Not to say that they didn't go through changes in the early parts of their careers too.
Right.
So it's always good to have that society that is protecting the artist and is doing the right thing. So if you are prospering, you can reinvest everything in to give better product to the universe of your fans.
Sure. 100%, man. And you just nailed it on the head. It's not just you. It's all about the team that's behind you, man. And that's
Oh
that's
man, 1,000%.
yes. And once again, shout out to Duderman, that you had
Oh,
mentioned
big up,
earlier.
Robbie.
Yeah,
Blessings, man. All
yeah,
the best
yes,
to you and
yes.
family.
Absolutely. Puts on some of the best fucking. I mean, you always see Duderman on every damn reggae show in Florida, all around, just doing the
Yeah.
work, putting it in so people can hear the music. It's a beautiful thing, not just management, but putting on the shows and just bringing the reggae music to the people. So
One of the hardest working men in show business. One of them.
yes, 100%, without a doubt. And you see his logo everywhere. It's the state of Florida, Duderman Production. Absolutely beautiful thing, man. So mentioning the that was fucking hilarious about you getting caught eating
Yeah. And he
But
didn't
then
even
the fact
care.
he just walked in his room, he's like, oh my God. Like what he's probably like, I don't even know what the hell to say about this, dude. I'm just going to bed. This is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's
These
funny,
guys got
man.
to be hungry.
Yes.
And we were real hungry.
That's amazing. But let's move on to one of the next legends that recently, very very recently passed. Cat Core, Third World, the famous 96 Degrees in the Shade. He's a fellow guitarist, band leader. What impact did he have on reggae, and musicianship, straight up, in your opinion?
Cat was he was like uptown, downtown, crosstown, midtown.
Beautiful.
He was one of those guys that everybody recognized as David Core's son, who was the finance prime minister.
Right.
We befriended really early. In fact, Ibu Cooper was one of the first musicians I met when I first came from Norman Manley Airport. He was fixing a piano for Bob at Tough Gun. He had just acquired Tough Gun record company.
Right.
And there was a little rehearsal room in the back of the studio. He was in there fixing a Fender Rhodes, actually. And I asked him, what's your name? He goes, Ibu Cooper. I said, you play? He says, I'm a pianist in Third World. And then I wanted to know who Third World was, and I found out and became very close friends with Stephen Core.
Wow.
He is well-spoken. He was very intelligent.
Very much so.
Truly a reggae ambassador for Jamaica on the highest level, along with all the rest of the members.
Yeah.
Wow, it's there's a big hole in the bucket now. When he was around, you felt like you had a full jar, because he was intelligent, witty, funny, talented, classically trained, impeccable speech, like just the words he would choose to have conversation with you would never forget. And he could have been a stand-up comedian. He was just an incredible being, and I miss him greatly. We talked all the time. I toured with him. In fact, if it wasn't for Cat, he changed my life in a lot of ways when I met him. I knew a bunch of Dennis Sandoli picking techniques which I passed over to him, and him and Earl Chinna Smith taught me how to make the ska on the guitar. And
Wow.
I'll start with the Lyceum performance. They opened for us at the Lyceum when we did live at Lyceum. And for some reason, my whole guitar rig went down. And I had maybe 10 minutes to find a remedy to get a sound for the recording with No Woman, No Cry and all those songs you guys like.
Yeah.
So I got my direct guitar sound from my rig going down to running to the bus and begging Cat for one of his effects to help enhance my guitar sound. So he gave me a phaser, like an MXR small stone. And I plugged in that thing and I heard the sound. He gave me that sound for the Lyceum recording. And I had like minutes because it was going to be a hard night for me if I didn't have that little extra
Right.
nitty gritty, you know?
Yes, of course.
And so we became like really good friends. We spoke all the time. We did gigs back to back. We went on the road with them in Inner Circle. You know, he was part of Inner Circle. So was Chinna. And I was close with Jacob Miller and all the guys in Third World, you know. They were brothers, you know, they were my brothers. And in my early days of living at Hope Road, he came to Hope Road to see me because we would always get together and, you know, have a smoke, have a serious talk about music and equipment, because he always wanted to know more about, he was always asking about the better amplifiers, what new companies that are making, you know, really advancement in signal processing and guitars. And he's really hip cat. And I said, I sleep here because there was no beds in Hope Road at that time. And there was a lot of people that Bob had under his wing protecting them. So I slept on the floor with like an army of soldiers, you know. And I had a piece of cardboard and a extra large towel. He says, "This is where you live?" He says, "No, man." He says, "You're my brother." He invited me to come and live in Vale Royal, which is like
Wow.
it's like a palace to me, my humble beginnings. So I stayed there for like 5-6 months. His mother gave me cornmeal porridge and rice and pea
Oh yeah.
and fried fish on Sunday. And I saw his father in his office. He'd always salute me, and I knew his brothers, and his mother treated me really well. He's really something special to me, man. The whole universe mourns the passing of him, and my condolences to all his family and friends. God bless all the core family and all the friends and all the Whirlers. I know how you guys feel. We've been through this too many times, and all we can do is pray that we keep the ones that are here healthy, conscious, and never, never stop fighting for life. And the saddest thing is that all the times we were talking over these last 2-3 years, we speak like during the week and at the end of the month, and he'd come off the road, he'd call me, I'd call him. We had great conversation, and I never knew anything was wrong because he was so funny. He was always talking about what was happening, you know, in his world. And I know what really hurt him when he lost Rupert Bent. He told me that it's like a sword going through his heart to know that Rupert wasn't working with him anymore, and it's really hard for him to carry on, knowing that, you know, how Rupert suffered in the last days. So I knew that Rupert was really infectious to him on how he felt about wanting to keep the Third World branding and the music going, the machine going. And without Rupert, who was an essential link in their program, so he was sad, and we, and then I got that unfortunate telephone call that he's graduated, and it's some of the saddest days of my life now. Now that you mention it, I mean, you can laugh and cry, but this is a kick in the head that you're knocked out. This is a knockout, and we've just lost so many greats that it's, why don't they take me? Why would they take him? It's just unfair, and I'm so proud that I've known him, his band, and his family for so many years, and how kind he was to me as a brother, a musician, and a friend. And it was never competitive, because the music world is a very competitive world. It's like the MMA of sound sometimes.
Right. That's actually a really good way to put it. And there's really, I just lost my mother about 3 months ago, and I feel that it stings. Life does not prepare you. Your heart and your mind do not get along when you lose somebody, because your mind is like, they're in the right place, they're in a better place, but your heart is like, I fucking miss them.
Yeah.
And you can't. There's nothing you can do to stop that battle. I mean, it's like your body disagrees with you when you lose somebody you love, and it's just, I don't think there's anything that can ever prepare you for it. And I totally feel your pain 100%, man. And definitely will be missed. But the music definitely carries on through people like you. And it's a beautiful thing that are people like yourself, like Al Anderson, to be able to carry on the legacies of these beautiful people through your music, through your words, through your true heartfelt, sympathies, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, their hearts and frequency will be with me for the rest of my days here. Hopefully that the band is fantastic, and I think Kat brought Kumar on board so that he could carry on. I hope that's what that was all about, because the camaraderie there seems really joyful.
Right.
So that they can continue to keep working, because they need to keep going.
Amen.
He would want this, and I think that he brought Kumar on board for this graduation.
That's beautiful to think about. It's that I consciousness, man. I mean, it's working even, when we're not, it's an absolutely beautiful thing. So, I'm gonna, in closing, I know you're a very, very busy man, and I want you to get back to your studio work and doing what you have to do, because God knows the world needs it right now. How do you, or in my question, how do we as a people preserve reggae as a living culture and not just a nostalgic genre of music?
Make a contribution spiritually through prayer or financially. Support your artists. Buy the streams, go to their concerts,
Buy the merch,
get the merch. That goes a long way.
Yeah,
and just be a part of their career, where you're interacting with the music and the culture that you do truly love.
Amen. Absolutely. That's beautiful, man. So what's coming up next for the Wailers, Al? Mainly, what are you most excited about that's coming up next for the Wailers? The releases, tours?
Some releases?
The original Wailers, should I say? Sorry, let me correct that. What's up next for the original Wailers, not the Wailers, the original Wailers?
Yes. Some original material.
Beautiful.
Some really interesting collaborations. Don't want to mention them too fast, because I want to make sure I get the artist permission.
Yes.
And we have something coming up with Michael Franti for a week.
Great, man. It's absolutely fantastic.
I'll send you the dates so you could let everybody know that we'll be touring with him for, I think, around 7, 8 days coming
That's
up
wonderful.
here this year in the next quarter.
Fantastic. And it's interesting that you said that you wanted to make sure that your collaborations were set before you said anything. I know the same thing being on a podcast. I'll have a guest commit. I'll be so excited. I'll start promoting it. And then they're like, I can't show up.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah. So I totally feel you on that. So, now my final question for you, Al. After everything you have seen, everything you have played, and everything you have lived, what does reggae still mean to you?
Well, first of all, without the Jamaican people and the love that they showed me when I first came to the island, there would be no me. I don't think that a lot of things would have happened for me in the States because there was so many talented musicians that I was affiliated with in the States. And it wasn't like going to Jamaica, I got recognized, but when I went to Jamaica, I got recognized. People were like, hey,
Right.
this guy can play a little bit, giving him opportunity. So without the Jamaican people, God bless all the Jamaican people and all my friends and family
Amen.
there. They're the ones who made me the artist I am today. And without them, I would have a very humble lifestyle. And I
Right.
think that they have been the majority of my successful days was working with Peter, Bob, and Bunny,
Beautiful.
and all the Wailers, all the real Wailers. There's a bunch of people that call themselves the Wailers. I'm talking
Yes.
about the real Wailers.
Amen.
God bless the I trees. They're all still alive.
Amen.
God bless them all. And so I bless the whole Wailers
You know that?
family.
Yes.
And those are the people that I give my most, how can I say this? I give my heart to them because they're the ones who made me the artist and the person I am today with their music. It's their music. And
That's right.
I came to Jamaica as a servant to serve singers, songwriters, producers, and artists, and not to, there's no star forecast in my alignment. I just am a service for the musicians and the artists and the music. And I'll continue to do that for the rest of my days. Service the music because that's where it's at.
That's absolutely beautiful, man. And I can just say before we close, there's 2 podcasts where tears have welled up in my eyes. The first one was with you. The second one was with you.
Oh, wow.
Al Anderson, thank you so much, man. You bring a passion to this show that most people don't bring because you were there. The way that you talk about the music, the way that you talk about these artists, the way that you deliver the stories. And I've never laughed so hard either was on this podcast when you were talking about Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah.
But you bring something so special. I am honored to know you and to have been in contact with you, and for you to talk to me is such a beautiful thing, and to deliver this message and deliver your words to the world and the people listening right now is far beyond anything I ever thought that I would be able to do as a human being. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with the world what you have to say. Al, thank you so much for coming on this podcast, my friend.
Thank you for your kind words and thank you for having me this time.
Always, and I can't wait to do it again. So, folks, I will say that there is strength in unity. Build your community. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and shoot me an email, info@hippie-fari.com, and check out our website, hippie-fari.com. And catch me right after this RootsCast for Word, Sound, Power, Conscious Reggae Radio Show. I'm opening up the show with a 1 hour block of the original Wailers music. Definitely don't go anywhere. Just keep it fucking locked right here. WTHC. And this is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie and Kira the Irie Empress reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. And do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart. Because all good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of this reggae revolution. One love, fam. Rastafari. Don't go anywhere. Stay locked. WTHC.
And say it.
Go ahead, Al.
And say a prayer for the Cat Core family and the
100%.
Third World Band.
100%. Thank you so much, Al. We love
Thank
you,
you.
man.
Welcome to the shop where the colors come alive. Collectors dream and never shine like fireworks in the sky. Stacked to the ceiling with stories in light. Magic in the air when the toys play at night. Robots spinning, Game Boys flashing, action figures strike a pose. Barbie's got her sunglasses on, G.I. Joe's in hero mode. Arcade lights and vintage signs, glowing warm and bright. Everybody smiles when the toys play at night. Race cars roaring down the aisle like thunder and chrome. Furby's waking up like they just found home. Every shelf's a treasure map, everything feels right. Step into the wonder when the toys play at night.
Nugs of many sizes, munchies, trippy friends, and stash jars are some of the gifts you'll find here at LoveNugbuds.com for a unique gift for your 420 friend. Love Nugbuds will have what you want in the end.
What's up, everybody? It's Rich from Rebel Sounds Rising, and we are getting ready to celebrate our 2-year anniversary, February 7th at Rising River Brewery in DeCountry, Pennsylvania, bringing you up-close and personal sets with Rebel Family, Elephants Dancing, L&J Sessions, MSJR, and Dylan Peters. You're not going to want to miss this one. Tickets are selling fast, so get them at www.risingriverbrewing.com. Make sure you're there because you're not going to want to miss this. 2 years, Rebel Sounds Rising. See you there.
Are you searching for affordable products and great rosin? Well, look no further. Whether you're keeping it simple or going all out, we've got you covered. Sunny's for everyday deals, and Hash RX for that premium fire. Sunny's keeps your stash affordable, giving you value every single day. When you want the best, Hash RX. Oklahoma's premium live rosin. No solvents, no shortcuts. Affordable or premium, the choice is yours. Find us at Oklahoma dispensaries.
From the vinyl to the vibes, yeah, the signal stays strong. Roots in the system, play the truth in the song. High-strung hippie with the mic in his hand, broadcasting consciousness across the land. Friday night